everyone, I'm JD from Willowbound Journals, and in this video I am picking up where I left off, making some Daphne's Diary journals. So I've got my 3 covers here in front of me and a whole bunch of pages that I've chosen, and I'm just going to match up the pages with each of the covers and then cut them down to size. It's a bit of a long process, so I thought while I play this in the background, I would share one of my psychology themed videos. So on my channel, I share about different things that interest me. This year, I'm especially sharing more about my own mental health journey and my faith journey. And sort of under that umbrella, I also like sharing about psychology in general. And if I'm going to be sharing about psychology, I'm going to be sharing about Psychology in Seattle, the podcast that I absolutely love and that I am a patron of. And yeah, I just wanted to sort of track my journey listening to them and maybe start this new series. I've kind of dabbled in this already previously in some videos on my channel, but where my hope was to sort of respond to their videos anytime that one of their videos really speaks to me, teaches me something, gives me a new insight, changes how I think, anything like that. So I thought I'd just start at the beginning though for this, and I will share how I even discovered Psychology in Seattle and why I like them pretty much. So basically, story time. Back in, I think it was 2018, that's when I started a grad dip in creative writing at Bible College, and I only ended up doing 1 year there, but out of all my studies, that course was one of the most life-changing courses. Just doing the 4 subjects, I don't even know if I did 4, I might have only done 3 subjects there. But yeah, my first couple of subjects were just fiction and non-fiction, and then another subject that I did was sci-fi and fantasy. Now, what I loved about this subject was that the resources, a lot of them weren't just, readings and books and journal articles and that kind of stuff, but it was YouTube videos. And I'd never really experienced that before in my previous studies. So yeah, each week we would have extra resources that we could look into, and actually, yeah, they weren't even extra. We would have to sometimes watch a video and respond in the forum as part of our weekly discussions and things like that. So anyway, the videos that they linked, a lot of them really opened my eyes to this whole other world of storytelling and film analysis, and yeah, loved it. There's this AI video called Kara that I changed my whole mind about AI and ethics and morality and all that kind of stuff with that, and it introduced me to some of my favorite YouTube channels. Loverboy Media, which is a channel that looks at movies through the frame of empathy. Love it. And then another one is Lindsay Ellis. She used to have YouTube videos. She used to do videos on just really cool film analysis, looking at the history of film and that kind of stuff. And one other I'll mention is Law Runner. I especially love their Lord of the Rings ruminations, and just, yeah, so good. So good. Anyway, so through watching those film analysis videos for my creative writing course, I then wanted to explore this world of film analysis a lot more. And, I've grown up with movies my whole life, and every week I'd be watching movies and love movies so much, and how they can tell stories and make us feel and make us connect with characters and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so yeah, this course introduced me to film analysis and to videos and YouTubers who analyze them and talk about them. And so I think it just came up in my YouTube recommendations one day, the psychology of Gone Girl. So I was like, okay, movie I haven't seen. So, okay, one thing to know about me is that I don't do scary movies. I can't do horror. I can't do scary movies. But I love mysteries and I love thrillers. I like psychological thrillers, the non-scary ones. So if I hear about a psychological thriller type movie that I'm unsure of, like how scary it is, let me just get my cat. He's meowing at my door. Hello, Keanu. Where was I? Yeah, I have a habit of going to Google and Googling the plot lines of psychological thrillers that I think are too scary for me. So for a movie like Gone Girl, I think I could do it in the daytime with friends, because I read the thing on Google, Wikipedia, and that's how I still get the benefit of finding out the story and the twists and the mystery and appreciating that, without getting scared. So anyway, I clicked on this video, Psychology of Gone Girl, and listened to it, and it almost goes for, I think, like 2 hours, and I loved it. There were so many things about it that I loved. First of all, the film analysis side of it, that's why I was there, but then it added so much more that just blew my mind. So that's how I discovered the video. That's how I discovered the podcast. Well, let me just share specifically about that video, what I loved about it. And I think one of my favorite things about it was that it wasn't just a straight analysis of the movie, which is what the other videos that I had watched were like. This was, yes, they went into the movie, yes, they analysed some things, but then they went on to like the audience reaction and the different ways people were taking it. And I was really fascinated with that, and just the analysing of people's reactions, and then going into extending that into culture more broadly about, well, why would people have these reactions? What's the culture? What's been happening in the world that people might have this reaction? So it went into things like feminism and the movies that are made historically, like over the years, and they went into the whole section about the cool girl and the culture of that, and a whole discussion about how guys can have the same kind of thing, and is it the same, is it different, all this kind of stuff. And there was a bit of back and forth about that, which I love too. I love that sometimes Kirk and Berto, the hosts, they don't always agree. Often they do, but often they don't as well. And what I love is that they both will get to share their views, and I can see both points. I don't agree with everything each of them says, but I can see where both are coming from. And I like that. I like that there's, not a black and white, this is the way it is. It's, here's how I see it, here's how I see it, and based on their backgrounds, based on their upbringing, based on their experiences, whatever it is. I can see both, and maybe it's a both and, I don't know. Anyway, love that part of it too. I love that then they also will sometimes share their own experiences and their own stories as examples to bring things out and to sort of explain where their ideas are coming from, where their views are coming from. And I love that too, because, they're not just sharing examples from the movie, they're sharing examples from their own lives where I can learn from that, and I can see myself or not see myself in their stories, which helps me see myself more clearly as well. And then I went into sort of the next section where talking more about psychology specifically. And this part I absolutely loved too. It was almost like a psychology lecture, a fun one though, a really fun one. Talking about things like psychopathy, narcissism, borderline, and, getting into some detailed things about that I wasn't aware of. So it was just super fascinating to me. And then what I especially loved was where they would go into, okay, how might a person come to behave like this or see the world like this? What in their upbringing, in the parenting that they had, in their life experiences may lead them down a road to do this or this. And just, yeah, it's all, hypothetical, and it's all theorizing and everything. But through that, I learned so much, and yeah, opened up this whole world to me that I was just so glad about. And yeah, it helped me to see things differently. It helped me to see more than I'd seen before. It helped me to understand others, understand myself a bit better. And yeah, I just love that. It combines many things I love. I've always had an interest in psychology. I always say this thing where I think people are absolutely fascinating. I just want to know everything about them, how they think and what makes them who they are, and the differences between people. Like, why would one set of circumstances lead to this in one person and then the same lead to something different in another? Like, I love all of that. And it combines that with, psychology and movies, culture, perspective, understanding, empathy and compassion. And I am big on empathy and compassion, and I really think this podcast has made that a huge value of mine now. Empathy and compassion. It brought that out in me a lot more. And I love you can see, there's so many things I loved, but if I was to choose maybe the best thing I loved, it was maybe not just the talking about the psychology, not just talking about the behavior, not just talking about where it might come from, but this idea of, I don't know, that we can then have this empathy and compassion for people, seeing that it comes from this people's needs and desires that they have, and yet we hold that in one hand. At the same time, in the other hand, we hold that doesn't excuse things, that doesn't give them, no consequences or anything like that. But this idea that we can see where people are coming from, we can understand them, therefore we can have compassion and empathy for them. And I don't know, there's something about that just really is right up my alley. So yeah, that is why I love that episode. And that episode sort of is more broadly like an example of the podcast more broadly, what it does. So why I love the podcast in general is because of how it combines all of this: psychology, culture, perspective, behavior, looking at the reasons why, possible reasons why, because no one can ever really know why, of course, and then personal sharing, learning about the theory, and then all of this mixed into one, the humor as well, the banter. I love all that. Sometimes they have some arguments and some debates and sometimes some outright fights, which again I quite like, in terms of it helps me learn. It helps bring out a perspective. In a fight, in a debate, there's two sides. I want to see all the sides. I want to see every side. So bring on all of those sides, because again, not necessarily I will agree with each side, but that I will be aware of each side, and I want to know. I want to know the sides. I want to understand each side. So yeah, love the podcast. Love it so much. Yes, I have to admit my favourite episodes are the ones with both Kirk and Berto. There's other co-hosts as well, and sometimes it's just Kirk. Love those. Love them all. But I think maybe because of my first encounter with Psychology and Settle was with Kirk and Berto, that's just my ultimate. Love the banter, love the storytelling, love the vulnerability, love the heart, love the humour. Love it all. Love the teaching that isn't necessarily explicit teaching, but through all of what they just do, I learn so much. I grow from it, and I'll go as far as to say, I've healed from some things through listening, just because I've been given an insight, or now I understand something a bit further, or now it's led me to want to explore something further, or I've become aware of something where I do need healing in an area. Anyway, I've got many stories about that too. Maybe I'll share those in some later videos as well, because there are some quite specific examples and some more broader examples. Anyway, what am I saying? I think after that episode, the next episode that I will listen to, and I sometimes say watch because I discovered them on YouTube, so I listen to them on YouTube, and therefore I might say watch because YouTube video, all that kind of thing. So the next one that I watched was The Psychology of the Girl on the Train, because that's kind of similar, another movie that I haven't watched but looked up because I wanted to know the mystery. So I listened to that, and then I listened to other movie episodes, and then from there I branched out to, I think it was The Psychology of Certain People. And again, not because I'm necessarily interested in knowing about these people's lives, but because through their talking about them, I learn the sides. I learn different perspectives. I learn different ways of seeing the world, and and then it helps me learn about other people, it helps me learn about myself, helps me to have greater empathy and compassion for all of us. And then from there, I kept listening to everything. Then I would, try to catch up. I couldn't catch up. It took me forever to actually catch up, but I would go back and listen to old episodes, and then I became a regular listener, and as the episodes came out, I would listen to them as they came out. So now, as soon as it comes out, I'm listening to it. And then from there, I became a patron of the podcast. And what got me over the line, yes, I wanted to support them, and I wanted to thank them for all they've done in my life and for all their videos. But the final thing that got me there was the attachment theory deep dives. So some of the best episodes are over on their Patreon. They're really cool deep dives, and to this day I still say the attachment theory deep dive is my favorite series that they've done. And attachment theory is my ultimate. that's my favorite. And then just a little side note, schema therapy, love that one too. They did a deep dive on that over on Patreon as well, and love that. That's my second favorite. Systems theory, that's my third favorite. Okay, sidetrack, we can talk about that later. I've already got a video sharing about systems theory when I shared that in relation to my own mental health journey. No, not systems, sorry, schema therapy. I shared about that and about my schemas and how that helped me. But yeah, attachment theory, love it. And I guess that's how I kind of frame things now as well, along with all the other theories, whatever helps. But yeah, that central idea that we all have needs, and I'll say that for a different video. In fact, go watch their videos. Go be a patron. Check out their attachment theory videos. Life-changing. Super helpful. And still continuing to work with that and learn more and explore more about that. And love it, love it, love it. So that is how I came to discover Psychology in Seattle. And that is how I fell in love with the podcast and how I became a patron of theirs. And I hope to continue sharing more about what I learned from them. And yeah, just absolutely will advocate for them, support them. And I don't know, the latest episode that came out, Kirk and Berto episode, in the title it said Kirk and Berto fight, and I was like, okay, here we go. And oh man, when I read the comments after I listened to it, I was like, oh, they should probably rename it. No, not rename. They should do this. But I was thinking it could be renamed as Berto fights Berto, Kirk and no, Berto and the public fight. That's what I'm trying to say. Because in the comments, it's like just so upset by some of the comments that were directed at Berto, and I was just, Mama Bear came out again. I get surprised because I don't usually have Mama Bear in me, but anytime Kirk and Berto are attacked, this Mama Bear comes out in me where I get all protective, and I was just wondering in me, like, there's strong thoughts and feelings are coming out at me where it makes me wonder, like, okay, is this just me being triangulated between Berto and the public? Is this me feeling undifferentiated where I feel like I need to come in and be the rescuer and I need to, fix things, and when that's not my responsibility? Go like, okay, no, hang on, this is not my not my place. And of course, I'm making a lot of assumptions and might not be needed at all. But yeah, my heart was just going out to him and just wanted to say that, you know, I didn't agree with everything he said, but I stand with him and will support him, and I got your back. And yeah, just some of those things that were said in my book, unacceptable. Just flat out unacceptable. Again, I see where you're coming from. Don't think you're a bad person for leaving that comment. I'm not going to assume you're horrible, you know, but still unacceptable to say some of these nasty things. And yeah, my heart just went out, and just I've had a little taste, just a tiny taste of that on YouTube myself. Just gonna loop this video, got more to say apparently. Where, you know, negative or attacking comments on me, or comments that assume something about my character from strangers, you know, it destroys me. And Kirk has talked about this too, and it's like, yeah, I can have sleepless nights. I've actually cried over it and thought about deleting my channel because of it, because I don't want to harm anyone. I don't want to hurt anyone through my channel or anything. And, you know, sometimes the things we say and do, even well-meaning, can, without us even knowing, hurt people, and that's just a horrible reality. And something that a friend helped me, yeah, she gave me the best advice. It was just, you know, you don't need to let people who don't know, hang on, let me get this. You don't need to let people who don't know you speak into your life. And I was like, yep, that's it. So now, even though it destroys me in the moment, I don't give those comments weight. The people who do know me, they're the ones who know what they're talking about, and they're the ones who I can listen to, and they're the ones, their words have substance. But anything from a stranger, it's got no weight. And so I just hope that, yeah, the comments from the people who, you know, we know Berto, we know he's not a horrible person, and you know, all of us say things that sometimes our words aren't coming out perfectly, and sometimes we slip up and don't say exactly what we mean, and we're not going to hold that against them. Like, come on. And my hope is, you know, for intelligent people, intelligent responses, and at the very least, kindness. At the very least, kindness. I mean, we don't have to agree with each other. We can all be hurt by each other, but still be kind. Yeah, anyway, this is just me. I hope that we can all believe the best in people. I hope that we can all treat people well, no matter how we are treated, or no matter how much, you know, this other idea that I had, took me years to learn, that no matter what we do, people aren't always going to like us, people aren't always going to agree with us, people aren't always going to understand us, and that is okay. But there are some who will understand us, get us, like us, and my hope is that those people, their comments and their words, they're the ones that you give substance to, and that they outweigh any of those negative comments that are just air, because they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know you. They don't know you. Anyway, so that's sort of my own journey with that. That's what that episode kind of brought up in me. And so, yeah, wishing Berto well. And thank you for sharing that with vulnerability and letting that out there. And yeah, people can be harsh and cruel sometimes. And in my world, I wish that didn't happen. I wish that we could all understand each other perfectly. And at the very least, if we didn't understand each other, that we could be kind. Believe the best in people. Anyway, that was a bit of a response to that video, but yeah. Chasing rabbits. Here we go. Going down rabbit holes. Hope that this video was fun and in its own way encouraging. And go check out Psychology in Seattle if you are interested at all in psychology, in knowing more about yourself. And yeah, I will always share about them, and I hope to continue sharing about them and any of their videos that really speak to me and that have helped me as I continue sharing about, you know, my own mental health journey as well. and all that kind of stuff. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have any stories you want to share, let me know. If you have any requests, let me know. And yeah, I'll leave a link below to Psychology and Subtle in the description box. Go check them out. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.